Hi everyone, it's Josie here from the recruitment team at Beca. Thanks for joining us. This is the last of our live web chats as part of the 2016 graduate recruitment campaign. So thanks for stopping by. So today we're joined by Meyer, who is one of our recent Beca grads. He's a University of Canterbury alumni, and most importantly, he's the recent winner of the IPENZ Ray Medal Award winner for student or excellence in student design, which is a bit of a mouthful, but Bo, if you want to quickly introduce yourself and tell us about your journey at Beca.
Hey all, my name is Mo. So I finished my university studies 3 months ago. I did mechatronics engineering at University of Canterbury. I joined Beca first last year as a summer student, and I stayed here for 3 months in Auckland branch. Then I came back this year as a grad for the same section. So I work in the electrical and controls team. We do lots of industrial work, such as water care or manufacturing work. Yeah.
Good stuff. So, congratulations! You've just recently won the IPENZ award. Yep. So how did you? Let's start with how did you hear about it? And tell us when you heard about the good news.
Actually, we heard about it last month. We got an email from our supervisor from university saying that we have been given the award, and he told us that we are invited to go to Wellington to receive it. Yeah, so it was pretty exciting and it was good.
I had to dust your tux off to get ready for the event.
I had to buy one, actually.
All right. And so, I mean, for the viewers out there that might not have heard about this award, what's the IPENZ winning criteria?
So IPENZ has 3 or 4 criteria, but mainly focusing on the project. So it's for final year projects for all engineering students, and you get nominated by your university. So they're mainly looking at, have you solved the problem that the client has contacted the university for? So say, for example, if you were meant to design, say in my case, I had to design a product, well, my team had to design a product to solve a problem that our client has given us. And they look at, have you actually solved it? Have you been communicating nicely with your supervisor? Have you been following sort of standards, if there are standards that are relevant? Other things could be, have you clearly defined your problem, or have you gone completely off topic? And most importantly, they look at the technical side of things. So is the engineering, they look at the engineering of the product itself. So they look at how does it work, does it actually work, and how viable it is as a product later on in the future. Yeah, so there's a few of them. But, and actually there's another thing too. They look at the social and environmental impact of it. So does it actually solve a problem, and how much would that problem have, like how much of a problem that was that you've solved. Yeah.
Okay. So what was your project based on?
I've actually got a photo here, so hopefully you guys can see it. So as you can see, these are milling machines, and what they do is they dig the ground, or they just remove the layer that's right here of the asphalt, and they do it through milling. So there's a drum here, and it has picks that go through here and removes that layer. So the problem was that the client came to us and said that often when these machines go over manholes or service covers, the drum gets destroyed. And the fact that, say for example, sorry, if you can see here, they do it in roads, so sometimes these are very long roads and it's hard to scan by hand. So what he wanted to do is he wanted to have a device that you can install in the machine that can scan the road before you mill it, so that you don't destroy the machine and you save, because you're pretty much saving money and time. Because as soon as you hit something and the machine stops, you get, frustrating people, and you kind of have to stop working on it, and you have to go and fix the machine before you continue the work. Also, sometimes you can hit a water main or a electricity cable or something, which could be a big problem. So they just wanted something that could tell the operator that if you can stop the machine because you're going to run over something very soon. So it was pretty much a metal detector that looks under the ground and searches for buried metal that they can't see.
Okay, so what made you pick that project specifically? I know you get a huge list of projects. So what stood out to you about this one?
There's 2 things actually. First thing was the fact that it had 4 different disciplines of engineering. So it's a civil engineering application, but at the same time, the product, we had to make the prototype from scratch. and that included mechanical, electrical, and some software. So it was, and I did mechatronics, so it was kind of interesting to me to work in a project that has different aspects in it. And the other thing was the environment. So we knew that we would have lots of site visits, and that was quite interesting for me to go and work on. So, yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So you're actually a summer intern at Beca, previously to being a grad. So did you get any support from your manager once you'd chosen the project?
Yes. Well, it's quite tricky because lots of the projects are confidential, so you're not meant to really share too much information with other people outside of your team. So I got general guidance and support in that sense, so in terms of managing the project, talking to my client, and that sort of thing. But we kept in contact during the year, and that was quite nice. Yeah.
Oh, that's good. That's good. And so, I mean, on the flip side, then, So, how did you benefit from your summer internship at Beca? I mean, did it help your project at all from what you'd learned here?
Actually, that was quite relevant too. So one of the most important things was communicating with the client. So in my summer internship at Beca, before I started my project, I got to go and meeting clients. I got to work in real projects, and I got to go on site visits, and all of that just gave me the experience of how to deal with clients, how to communicate with them, like taking notes in a meeting, or how do you clearly define the scope of the project, understanding what they're actually asking you for. So that kind of thing was very useful. Also, at Beca, I got to work with different teams, different disciplines. So that was good too, because when I went on my project, my team was made from different disciplines as well. So that was quite good.
So you knew how to communicate with the different types of disciplines.
Yeah, different types, and how to be professional in front of the clients, because you know it's quite important when you're doing your project is that you gain the client's trust as soon as you start and support. So you do this by being professional and trying to listen as much as you can to them and trying to be as presentable as you can. So yeah.
Was that something you learned at Beca then? Though? Was that something that you were told, or was it something that kind of, I guess, the culture kind of comes through?
It's just the culture, to be honest. I just picked it up by being here as a summer student, because my team would go on site visits, or they would go and meet clients and then go with them, and that was a good learning experience. Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
That was good.
They didn't put you at the front of a presentation and
no.
anything
Not
like
yet,
that.
no.
Not yet. Okay, great. And I guess on the flip side then, after your project, how did it help that project experience now that you're at Beca?
Well, the way I think of it is it helped me to micromanage some projects at Beca. So the way my team and myself have done this just gives me the experience of how do you see a project from start to the finish and the whole stages of the project. The other thing would be the networking events. So lots of networking experience. So I've got lots of contacts through my project that are continuing with me at the moment, and it's often that I see people through my work at Beca that work for the same company that I dealt with during my final year project. So yeah, so that's definitely helpful.
Great. So, I mean, you've survived your final year and you've won the award, hooray. And so what advice would you give to the final year students that are listening at the moment in regards to their project?
Most importantly, try and be as realistic as possible. So something that I've realized is that as soon as you get your project and you're very excited about it, you just want to do it. Sometimes we tend to think we can do anything, but you got to be realistic in your approach. Try and say, can you actually achieve this? So try and find a solution to the problem, but try and also be as realistic as you can in the approach, and try and stick to your plan. So I know you often plan, I'm going to finish it by May, but it's not always the case. So that's also something quite important. Another thing would be if you were making a prototype, like in my case, if you're going to order components from overseas, try and do it as early as you can, because that takes a lot of time to arrive. So allow at least 2 months for stuff to arrive, and don't take whatever on the website for granted. Other thing would be communicate with your clients. Try and have a regular meeting with them at least once a week. Sorry, at least once every 2 weeks. Just to keep that connection going between you and them, and you can always update them on what happened. Even if things are going wrong, it's good to communicate with them and tell them early on, because they're very helpful. I mean, they're the ones that are trying to solve the problem, so they will actively help you and support you. Yeah.
good bit of advice. So,
Yeah.
I mean, it might be from what you've just explained and you've learned from experience, but is there anything that you would do differently?
Yes, I would. I wouldn't have any assumptions going into it, and I would try and as early as I can talk to my client and clearly define the scope and the requirements of the project. So again, you get very excited when you get the project and you start working on it, but it just, if we slowed down and actually sat with the client and decided on what they actually want to achieve and understood what they want to do, yeah, that would be beneficial, because it will save you time later on in the year when you finalise one project. Yeah.
I think that would probably be a key when working in a consultancy as well.
Yeah.
I often hear that being the main priority, understanding what the client's needs are right from the start, making sure you're clear.
Yeah.
Good stuff. So, what would be your key learning point from the project?
I would say the most important thing was the fact that you got to trust yourself in what you do. So when we started our team, you're going to think, at some stage, you're going to think, okay, there's no way I'm going to finish this in time. There's no way this is going to work. But if you just put enough effort and time into it, it will eventually work out. And having this trust will be a good thing. Also, having, again, as I said before, the relationship with your client really makes it easy to work with them. And you'll be surprised the amount of support you would have from university or from your client or from your sponsor in that case, if you actually go and ask them for help and communicate with them. And yeah, the university have been very supportive as well as our clients, so that was good.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Okay, and so that's kind of the project, and
Yeah.
that's just, so thank you so much for your time discussing that. I'm sure there's lots of panicked students out there at the moment, either trying to pick their project or thinking, how do I even start? So I think they'll really appreciate that. So if we just kind of look at this holistically then and talk about Beca, what would be your best experience so far at Beca?
It was actually a site visit that I had 2 weeks ago. It was to Auckland Airport. They were doing some updates, and I went along to help the senior engineer there. It was at 1 in the morning, and the fact that it was 1 in the morning is because we had to wait till all the planes have landed or departed. So we went from 1 in the morning till 4:30 or 5 in the morning. That was very cool because it was just a different time to go to the airport, and seeing the work they do there was quite exciting actually. Yeah. Yeah, that would be definitely the highlight.
Okay, and last but not least, before we open the questions up to the floor, as you know, or hopefully know, our graduate and summer intern applications are open at the moment, which close this Friday, 8th of April. What advice would you give to anyone wanting to apply?
I would say do your homework. So research the company, research Beca, see what they do, see the services and projects that we're working on, and watch the YouTube videos that we have. And that gives you the background, and you can see if it will work out or not. The other thing would be tailor your CV and cover letter for Beca. So write a specific CV for Beca and a cover letter. Don't copy from anywhere.
No, check which companies in the cover letter.
Yeah, check what company you have in the cover letter. Also, join LinkedIn. It's very likely that your manager will look you up if they get your CV. So have your LinkedIn, put all your projects, for the stuff that you worked on and university activities. Yeah, and that hopefully will give a good impression. And
awesome.
Yeah, hopefully good luck. Good
luck, yes, absolutely. Okay, well, you've kind of survived my grilling, so well done. We do have a few questions, so bear with me one moment whilst I just have a look, because we do have some that are recruitment related, and I think we've got a project related one. So have a look. It's one of a project. Okay, so I think I'll start with Gagandeep's question. So Gagandeep, you're studying civil engineering in Wintec Hamilton. Does Beca employ graduates from Polytechs and I'll be graduating at the end of the year. Am I eligible for the graduate program? Absolutely. So I would strongly encourage you to apply. We have specific requirements throughout the business where we do take on people from polytechs. It means the type of work you're doing might be slightly different, just purely from what you've studied, but we do take on people from polytechs, and I know we've got a really good relationship with Wintech, so they would definitely encourage you to apply to. Specifically, if you're looking to work in Hamilton, I know that we've got requirements there. So yes, I'd encourage you to apply. So that one was an easy question for me to answer. Marcel, I know that you've got here, I'm a chemical and process student in engineering, and you're wondering what kind of projects that you could get involved in. I couldn't actually answer that question. You might be able to answer slightly, knowing that you work within sort of the industrial side for chemical process. Would you have an idea of the sort of projects?
There's a wide range of them, to be honest, but I would say mainly water projects, so designing the water waste or drinking water projects and designing the process of adding the chemicals into it. I'm not a chemical engineer.
No, I put you on the spot there.
It. So lots of yeah, so sort of understanding the process of how to achieve this, and then kind of designing or telling the other engineers, or the mechanical engineers or the electrical engineers, is these are the requirements that you need to do. So you need to add this much chemical, or you need to do this, and you need to track the amount of chemical in this and all that. So there's lots of water projects at the moment. There are also lots of food and beverage, so other food and beverage work. Yeah, I'd say that's it. From I'm sure there's lots more, but I'm not a chemical engineer.
No, that's good answering. Putting you on the spot there. So, Marcel, we actually have quite a lot of information on our website, which we do keep updated with the different projects that we're working on, and even a graduate area, which kind of gives you a bit more of an understanding in a more simplistic terms as to what you'd be getting involved into. So I'd encourage you to go and have a look at there. Also have a look up and see who works in our company, who is a process engineer, and on their LinkedIn and things like that, they'll actually go into discussion about what sort of projects they work on. So that's probably what I'd advise for you to do. And last but not least, I've got a question here from Rehan, who is an electrical engineer with almost 5 years of experience. Currently enrolled in doing a global MBA program in France. Are you encouraged to apply? And if yes, how? So, Raham, actually what I would advise is that probably the graduate program isn't tailored for your experience. So I would advise that with 5 years experience, regardless of whether it's in France or in New Zealand, that you'd be more suited for an intermediate role, just given the type will begin on, probably you'd find that you've already quite experienced in that area, and therefore more of an intermediate role would be better suited. And that's pretty much all the questions we've got. If anyone's got any questions out there, send them through now, otherwise we'll call it a day. Like I did say, applications for graduate and summer interns are open until Friday this week. Please don't leave it to the last minute. I know students like to work to deadlines, but in this case, the quicker the better. Managers are already starting to review applications, so I'd strongly advise you to get in there. Mo, thank you so much for your time, and congratulations again on your award. The only way is up.
Thank you.
Thanks everyone. Bye.